Oh yes. It's Brady.
Caw.
And Levi.
Levi.
Do the bird noise.
Caw. Caw. Nerdish.
It's nerdish with a 3, not nerdish with an E. Why?
8 to 9:30 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yes, because nerdish with an E was taken.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Thank you for giving that reason for a question that I didn't ask.
That's sort of like the way we eliminate answers on the reading section.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess the other sections to a certain extent.
I think it's important when doing a rap to listen to the beat that's happening in your ear. Otherwise, you have a problem staying on beat.
Correct. We do the ACT and SAT, they're standardized tests to help you get into college.
We don't tutor rap. We shouldn't ever do that.
No, we're not pretending to be tutors of rap, even though we're really good. Sometimes you can be really good at something, but not be a good teacher. Case in point.
Point in case.
Point in case word.
Point in case something bad happens.
Like this?
Yes.
I think we're enriching your lives by you watching this.
I'm getting a phone call from a friend. Do you think I should pick it up now?
The phone call just was dropped. Maybe he'll leave you a voicemail.
Next time, I'll pick it up during the stream. That way we can all talk to my friend Steve.
If you think this is not very high quality, don't worry. We're gonna do it again in 2 weeks.
Also, we're much better quality when we're teaching you all the things in a number tree.
Like prime factorization?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
You break a number down into its prime parts until you can't break it down
We
anymore.
can probably do that right now.
Yeah, we might.
Okay, so let's say 32.
I was going to say 30. That's so close.
Oh my gosh.
All right, break it up.
Okay,
Any way you want. 2 and 16.
Okay, 2 and 16.
2 and 16. 16 is 4 and 4.
Okay, 4 and 4. Oh,
And
interesting.
each
So
4
16
is
a perfect
2,
square.
2. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, 2 and 2 and 2 and 2.
So it's 2 to the 5th.
Yeah, it's 2 to the 5th.
2 to the 5th, exactly.
Whoa.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
You see that? It's that quick. Now you know. Think about that for our whole show.
Now stop watching the stream because you've learned everything necessary.
Bum, 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 bum. We're in a box. You can help us by asking us questions in the hope that someday we can escape.
Hey!
Hi.
Wait, we need to turn that. We need to erase that.
Well, I mean, it's just telling them who we are. What's wrong with that?
Well, I can't let that happen.
Well, if you erase it, then are you still Levi?
They're after me.
Oh, really?
They're
Them?
after me.
Are they the ones that always do those studies? You know, they say like, oh, they've done studies. They figured out this. Is it them?
Yes.
Oh, jeez. You mean the small group of people that like run the whole world
Yes.
and are behind every conspiracy?
Yeah.
That's wild. They're
Okay.
after you.
Hey, do you know what our name is for Restream?
I don't know. Do you?
No. That's
Oh,
why.
good.
Probably
Goody,
best.
Hey, that looks like it worked. Yeah, you should put the chat up.
Huh? Yeah.
Bum 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 bum.
Okay.
Bum, 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 bum,
Tell the good people what you're doing.
Good people, I will be doing parabolas. Where do they go? What do they look like? How can I befriend one?
How can I train them?
Do I have to approach it very slowly and gain its trust over a period of time?
What level of Pokeball must I throw at it?
Could I possibly turn myself into a parabola and learn to live among them and then eventually have some kind of a conflict and become romantically involved with one of the other parabolas and realize that I'm selling out my own kind?
Good question. Right, and then you live among them. You understand. You don't just destroy their world.
Exactly.
Right?
Even though we're there to extract precious resources
From the parabolas.
from the parabola world.
Yeah.
It's tough. It really is tough. A lot of decisions you're going to have to make.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm covering. What about you?
Apostrophes, right?
I don't know.
I think it's apostrophes.
Okay. Okay.
It's apostrophes.
That's good.
What are you covering?
I don't know.
Okay.
I need some markers.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you're that sort of thing.
Some of us are.
Some of us are, and some of us
shame me.
are not. All right. It is parabola time. Today's Tuesday. Yeah, you know, when we first started this, I was really behind the idea of having quadratic Tuesdays. You remember that?
Yes.
Quadratic Tuesdays, and that's kind of what we're doing today.
Because you're a QT, right?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, just that's probably the best response.
Yeah. Parabolas. Pair of bolas. Bolus, meaning the kind of ball of food that you swallow. It's a bolus. You get a pair of them, you got a parabola. That's not true at all. We're off to a great start. So let's first start off with some definitions. You've all seen a parabola, you know what it looks like, but what is the formal definition of it? Well, I'll tell you right now. You got a point. You call that point the focus. Look really hard at it for a while. You have a line. We're going to call that line the directrix. That's just a fantastic word. Like
Directrix?
The matrix or something. Directrix, okay? A parabola is a set of all points that are equidistant from the point, the focus, and the line, the directrix. What does that mean? Well, if we're going to find one point that is definitely equidistant from them, it's the one that's right in the middle, which looks like it's probably right around, I would say, here, okay? So this distance here is the same as that distance there. All right, what's another one? Well, I would say that this one here looks like it's another one. So this distance here is the same as that distance there. This one as well. This one, all right, so it's a pretty wide parabola, actually. Here's a point. So this distance here would be equidistant to that distance there. It's not perfect, but if you connect these points, you get something that looks like this. Okay? All those points are the same distance away from that focus as they are from the directrix. Okay? Pretty exciting. And the way that we represent parabolas algebraically is with quadratic equations. Quadratic equations. Quad meaning four, radic meaning Levi. Four Levi's means quadratic.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. 4 is actually not a part of quadratics. I'm sure there was some definition a while ago. It kind of got lost. Because the standard quadratic that you draw is the simple parabola y is equal to x squared. The fact that it's degree 2 means it's a quadratic. Okay? So let me give you another quadratic. We got y is equal to x squared plus 2x plus 3. Also a quadratic. Because the biggest term, the leading term, is taken to a degree of 2. That makes it a quadratic. If it was a degree of 3, it'd be a cubic. Degree of 4 would be a quartic. Degree of 1, it'd be a linear. Degree of 0 would be a constant. Very exciting. Okay? Fanboys, comma fanboys, for and nor, but or yet so, using to separate independent clauses. Sorry, Levi, I just stole a little bit of your thunder. Anyway, let's graph y equals x squared. Let's see what happens. So y equals x squared. Let's make a little table. So we have x and we have y. We got a, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. We square them. We multiply them by themselves. We get positive 4, positive 1, 0, positive 1, positive 4. So the y's never become negative. They start going back up again. And your overall parabola is going to look like this. So we know we have 1, 1 and negative 1, 1, and then 2, 4, which is right there, and then there's that one which is right there. So it's going to look something like this. Okay, kind of go through that point. Okay, some terms here. Hey guys, it's Storm 60721. Hello, Storm. How's the precipitation been lately? Do you like me now?
I do. Nothing to do with your comment.
Oh.
I let your comments often just slough off. You know, this is the back of my body, right?
That's
like
where
back?
I aim your comments at the back of your body.
Yeah.
And then you just let them hit and slide.
Yeah.
Hey, Storm with a little thing there. Yeah, it's too hard to see.
It looks like Harry Potter's face. It's a little far away from us to be able to see.
We'll get there.
That.
We'll get there. Anyway, anywho, right?
Anywhom.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Do you want to take it over from here?
Yeah.
Great. Well, then I think I'm going to take it back from you now. So, just a little bit of vocab for you. The spot where the parabola switches directions is called the vertex. I have to pay my vertexes for the year 2018 really soon. Right? It's a vertex. Thank you. That's better than I thought. I'm taking a school ACT tomorrow. Yay! Storm, that's great.
Prove it.
Don't prove it. We believe you.
Live stream it.
Yeah, if you can live stream it, that'd be great. We'll put us in your ear, and then we'll like whisper sweet, sweet nothings. It's on computer. Interesting. Oh, they're moving towards that, actually, is having more of them being on computer. All right. If there's anything you want us to go over, then just let us know. The vertex is also found on something called the axis of symmetry. Parabolas are symmetrical, okay? They're symmetrical across an axis that cuts through their vertex, which is, in this case, it's the y-axis.
So if you turn sideways, it's not symmetrical anymore.
Well, don't turn sideways. That's on you. Let me draw you a different parabola. So if here's a parabola, a little mini parabola. Your axis of symmetry cuts vertically through the middle of it. Because if it's got like a piece of paper, you could just fold that guy right over on his friend. And then they can hang out because they're symmetrical. Okay. So the kinds of manipulations you can make to a parabola have to do with what is the standard quadratic equation, which is this. Y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. All right? So a, b, and c, those are your numbers, those are your constants. Those are the things that, like, as you change them, the graph will change. X squared and x, they're locked in there. They just represent themselves. A, b, and c, if you kind of change them around, you'll see what happens to the graph. So let's start with a, because a is a pretty powerful constant, if you ask me.
Eh?
You know you shouldn't ask?
Canadian?
Nope, my ex-wife.
Why?
I don't know. I just like saying that as though I have an ex-wife. Because there's a lot of baggage there. It's like, oh, what happened with him and his ex-wife, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't have one.
Right.
Yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be your ex-wife.
Cool. Storm. Yes. Very good. Okay, so what does the a value do? It's the coefficient of x squared. It does a couple things. Number one, if it's positive or negative. If it's negative, so like we have y equals x squared is this. If we have y is equal to negative x squared, our a value is now -1. Our systems of equations on the ACT, you bet your bottom and top dollar that they are. Yes.
Keep the middle ones to yourself.
Yes, exactly. You don't want to lose those, but top and bottom dollar, it's okay to lose those. Negative x squared is going to take all of our old y values and flip them vertically. So that's going to look like this. It is a parabola that opens downward. Yeah, downward. Okay. Very good, very good. What about the actual magnitude of a? Not just the positive or negativeness, but how large the number is, the absolute value. Well, let's draw a couple. So y is equal to x squared looks like this. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right.
You don't need me. I guess I'll just entertain them for a second. Hey, Storm. Before anything interesting happens, do you want us to do systems of equations stuff? We can do building systems of equations because there are word problems that you have to do word problem to system of equation and then solve, or do you want to just do solving systems of equations? There are different ways to do that. Answer whenever.
Well done, CB Turtle! Well done!
Yeah, let us know.
Hey!
We'll do that.
I'm thinking of a song. CB Turtle, walking down the street, CB Turtle. The kind I'd like to take the shell off and then eat.
Got it, Storm.
Very good, very good. Okay, so that's y equals x squared. So what about y equals 2x squared? What's that going to do? It's going to take all of our old y values and it's going to make them twice as large. This is going to be a vertical transformation. So our old value, let's say when x is 1, we used to have y equals 1. Forget about it. That's going to be 2 now. It's going to be a lot higher. This one used to be -1. Sorry, this used to be positive 1 as well. It's now going to be positive 2. We used to have nice things before the war. We used to, if we had 4, so this used to be 4. I should make this go a little further. Okay, yeah. So this right here was around 4. I'm going to call that 4. now it's going to be 8. So it's going to be way up here. All right, so this new parabola will have the same vertex because 0 times 2 is just 0. But this thing is going to start flying upward at a much faster rate. All right, good luck catching this thing. All right, so it becomes more narrow. That's the big thing here. All right, the larger your a value, the more narrow your parabola is because the vertical stretch is getting larger. So these points want to go up faster, basically. Okay, which means, oh, I should have drawn this with the pink one. Why didn't I do that? I'm so foolish. I'm going to actually do that because that's the whole point of having markers that are different colors. Okay. Here we go. Absolutely. Okay. Okay. So yeah, it's going to look more like this. Okay, great. And then let's change this to y is equal to 1/2 x squared. So now that it's smaller, it's actually going to be a vertical shrink. So it will now be half the height that it was before. So where we used to have a y of 1, it's now y of 1/2. So this thing is going to be opening up wider. All right, not as narrow. That's what the a value does. You switch it to a negative a value, it's just going to do this. It's going to make a slurping noise while it does it. If it doesn't make the slurping noise, something went wrong. Try it again. Great, that's A. Next thing we're going to talk about is C. What does the C value do? Okay, well, let's return for a second to slope-intercept form. Y is equal to mx plus b. Your b value represents something very special, very near and dear to your heart. It represents the y-intercept. And the reason that it does that is because of what a y-intercept is. So you got a little linear line. Your y-intercept is right there. Okay? It's where you cross the y-axis. But where you cross the y-axis is where your x is 0. So whenever your x is 0, you're somewhere on the y-axis. You have to be. X measures the distance left or right that you are of the y-axis. So if you're at 0, you're somewhere on the y-axis. So the way to figure out what your y-intercept is usually is you plug 0 in for x. So you plug 0 in for x, then mx means nothing. M times 0 is 0, so all you end up with is y is equal to b. That is why b is your y-intercept. When you plug in 0 for x, b becomes your entire y value. So c is the same exact thing. C will lift or lower the parabola, and it'll also tell you what your y-intercept is, because your y-intercept is where your x is 0, and if you plug 0 in for x, these first two terms both become 0. Both the x squared and the x are 0, so y is equal to c, which gives you your y-intercept. So let's clear this up. There's a lot of stuff on the board, and let's draw some examples. Oh, jeez.
I would hope, my lord.
I'm literally dropping everything.
Everything?
All of it. Just
all
get
of
rid
it?
except for parabolas, quadratic, and this. Oh. Can you hand me a rag?
Hand me a rag.
Thank you. Very good. What did you do today?
That was my first phrase, actually, when I was younger.
Like, did you have a first word, or your
No,
first?
no. It was just a full phrase. Hand me a rag.
Oh, hand me a rag.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for that error there. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What was your first word?
Brady.
Really?
Yeah. I said Brady first.
I don't think that's true at all.
Okay. Hey, Storm, by the way, numbers 4 and 5 on that document, they're really hard. I've never seen a question as hard as number 5, but I figured I'd just make it anyway because I thought it was kind of fun. And then number 4 is a salinity problem, which is about as hard as word problems to systems of equations can get. I've only seen a couple. So, but the night before the test, don't kill yourself on that stuff. I think numbers 1 through 3 are what you can reasonably expect for the test.
Great. Great-grandma. Y equals x squared plus, did you look around to see if she was here?
Yeah.
Okay, so y equals x squared plus 5. Our parent graph is y equals x squared. which looks like this. Parent graph meaning the basic graph before you apply any transformations. And then plus 5, which means it is a vertical shift of 5, but also our y-intercept is going to be 5. And that makes sense, because our y-intercept right now is the origin. It's 0. So if we lift this thing up 5 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, our new y-intercept and new vertex will be right there. So this thing is going to become this. That is what happens when you add 5 to it, okay? Very good. All right. The b value is wonky, and I'm going to be honest with you. It's not it might be intuitive, but it's not as intuitive as the things we just did. And generally, it doesn't matter, and I'll tell you why. It matters, but as far as transformations of the graph, it's not the most important thing for you to know, because you're usually going to factor this anyway to find the x-intercepts. Do you know like how to explain the b value?
I would never explain it in the standard form like that. No.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good. 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 Okay. I mean, if you really want to go onto Desmos and put in a bunch of parabolas, like y equals x squared plus x, y equals x squared plus 2x. See if you keep alternating the b value, what happens to the parabola. You know what? Use a slider. On Desmos, sliders are where it's at. You just do x squared plus ax, or in this case, let's just use b. X squared plus bx, and then it lets you slide different values of b and see what happens to the graph, which is like one of the coolest things. And it's a great math learning tool. Levi and I are both into that. All right, so let's start with graphing something. Y is equal to x squared plus, here we go. Let me think about this for a sec. Got it.
Why not 3, my lord?
That's right. That's right.
What?
Y equals x squared plus 2x minus 8.
My lord?
Yes, my lord.
Why not 3?
Correct. Very good.
No, my lord.
What?
I asked a question.
What was the question?
Why not 3, my lord?
For which part?
My lord?
For which part would be 3?
My lord?
Very good. Very good. Okay, so some things that we can glean from this. Positive a value, which means it's going upwards. Negative 8 is going to be our y-intercept. So we can start. We're going to have to do some other things first, or second, but negative 8 is really the only thing we can say for sure right now. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. All right, negative 8. So we definitely have that. Here's the next thing you have to do. You want to solve this quadratic for the x-intercepts. And what I mean by that has to do with what we did with the y-intercepts. To find a y-intercept, you plug 0 in for x. To find an x-intercept, somewhere along the x-axis, you put y as 0, because it's the opposite reason. Whenever y is 0, you're on the x-axis somewhere. So we're going to plug 0 in for y, and we're going to get 0 is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 8, which you should realize, oh, now I'm just solving this quadratic equation, because the first step of a quadratic equation is typically set it equal to 0, and then you solve it, okay? So yeah, that's where we're going to go from this. And the solutions here will be our x-intercepts. A couple different ways to solve a quadratic. The first thing you should always check is there anything I can remove from all of the terms, as in factor out? And right now there's not. There's nothing we can pull out of all the terms. So that's sort of step 0.5, and step 0.5 is done. Step 1. Can you factor? If you can factor, that is the shortcut to answering these questions. If you can't factor, then you got to do something long like quadratic formula or completing the square. Dinner is ready. Sorry for the short stay. Taking a practice reading in science section this Saturday, so I should have plenty of questions next week. CB Turtle, before you leave, what are you having for dinner? I would like to know.
Probably a Brady in its shell.
Oh, you're going to have a CB Brady in its shell? To kind of, I guess that's fair. So we're going to factor this thing. And when I factor, I'm looking for what multiplies to negative 8 and what adds to positive 2. And I'm going to say that that's going to be positive 4 and negative 2. All right. So our factors here are x plus 4, x minus 2 is equal to 0. All right. Now that we've factored, pizza, head down in shame. Or heads down in shame. Heads like multiple heads? Because turtles have multiple heads. Or are you heading downstairs in shame? Because it's going to be one of those two things.
Well, turtles do not live in more than one-story buildings.
Oh, that's true. So there's no way it's going to be heading downstairs. Yes. Again, that doesn't help. I gave you two options.
We gotta ask only yes or no questions.
All right, anyway, so we're here. So we have to solve this, which is super easy now. Because, let me make this 0 very clear. There's only two values that make this equation possible, and they're the values that make both of these factors 0. So x plus 4, if this factor is a value of 0, then the whole thing is going to be equal to 0. Same with this factor. 0 times something will be 0. Something times 0 will be 0. So what x values make these 0? If this is x plus 4, you want to set that equal to 0. This marker is on its last marker. All right, then solve it. So negative 4. So negative 4 is our solution for that one. And then for this one, we have x minus 2 is equal to 0. X is equal to 2, right there. Those are our x-intercepts, so now we can plot those as well. All right, so we have negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and positive 2, 1, 2. All right, now this thing's shaping up a little bit. We can see the bare bones, the outline, the skeleton, if you will. It's definitely not centered on the y-axis. We can see that right here. This right here is not the vertex. All right, it's just the y-intercept. Don't be confused. It's a very different thing, okay? Now, let's solve for the vertex. And the vertex is a new formula for us. Okay. Vertex, where it switches directions. The x-coordinate of the vertex, this is the thing you have to remember, has a value of minus b over 2a. All right, you got to remember that. Minus b over 2a. This marker's not great. Okay, b and a are the things that are in the standard equation. All right, the ax squared plus bx plus c. So in our equation here, our a value is 1, our b value is 2, and our c value is negative 8. So if I'm going to solve that here, we have a negative 2 over 2 times our a value is 1. So negative 2 over 2 times 1, which is going to be negative 2 over positive 2, which is going to give us negative 1. That is the x-coordinate of our vertex. So I'm going to put that over here. Our vertex is negative 1 something. Now that we know the x-coordinate of the vertex, all we have to do to find the y-coordinate of the vertex is plug the x-coordinate in. All right? I'm going to take a little shortcut. I'm going to plug it into our factored form. So we have negative 1 plus 4, which is going to be positive 3. And then we have negative 1 minus 2, which is going to be negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. So that's going to be 3 times negative 3, which is going to be negative 9. So we're 1 unit away here, negative 9, and it is at negative 1. That's the x-coordinate. So right there is our vertex. So minus b over 2a not only gives you the x-coordinate of the vertex, but it also gives you the axis of symmetry, because the axis of symmetry is just your x value at your vertex. And in this case, negative 1 is our axis of symmetry, which, bam, cuts right through the vertex. Okay. At this point, there's really not much else that you can do besides like making a table of values. If you don't, and this is more about like being able to tell when a graph of a parabola is correct, because you're looking for, you know, is the y-intercept correct? Is the x-intercept correct? Is it opening up the right way? Is it opening up upward? Is it opening up downward? So in this case, I know I can do this. Parabola is mirrored. So if we're going to go up 1 to get to that one, we can also go up 1 over 1 that way. And then our parabola is going to look something like this. It cuts through there. Yeah. Got to thicken that up a little bit. Yeah, it's going to look something like that. All right? So find your y-intercept. Find your x-intercepts. Find your vertex. Make sure you know if it's opening up or down. And then plug and chug. That's not true. Plugging and chugging is not. You've already gotten past that. Graph. Put those things on the graph and connect the dots, just like you're at a restaurant with your parents and you're playing with the kids menu, and it's connect the dots.
Hey, the Smolf.
The Smolf.
Hello.
The Smolf. Like the small elf? Maybe. Oh.
Thanks for the follow.
We got a follow?
Yeah, from the Smolf.
Hey. How can I find 2-por of parabola? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I think you probably misspelled something with 2-por. The something of parabola. Okay, we got an oops. That's a good start. The top point. Ah, very good. All the parabolas I've drawn have been opening upward. So the vertex is going to be that this point here, the bottom, the minimum. But if you have a graph that opens downward, it's your vertex that'll be the maximum. So the top point will be the vertex. And the vertex can be found by finding what minus b over 2a is as your x value, and then plugging that in to find your y value. Yeah, so it's the same situation as finding your minimum. It's a vertex. That's the important part. And you use the vertex formula to find what the x-coordinate is, and then you plug it in. Now, there's also a way to do it in calculus, but that's not tested on the ACT or ACT. So if you know calculus, I can say in like 2 seconds what you'd want to do to find it. But that's the way you'd find your top point. You're only going to have a top point if the thing opens downward, and likewise, you're only going to have a bottom point if it opens upward. Because these things go on infinity. So like having this downward-facing parabola, if these two things go on into negative infinity, you're not going to have a bottom point. They're just going to keep going. And same with this. This isn't going to have a top point. All it'll have is a minimum point. Does that make sense? I know I talk fast sometimes, but I only talk fast because I'm excited.
And you care.
And I care. It's been shown that the faster you speak, the more people learn. That's not true at all. It's not.
It's more about how loud it is.
How loud, yes. It's just volume. So I can speak very fast, but if it's quiet, you won't hear it. And if it's really, really loud, you'll hear all of it. Okay. Okay. Is the arrows of parabola touch at the infinity? Oh, good question. Okay. Well, no, they don't. These both go up in opposite directions. So, I mean, they're both going upwards, but this one is steadily moving to this way, and this one's steadily moving this way. Same with this. So they're never going to touch. They're going to keep going their own separate ways and move farther and farther apart as they go upwards. And same with this right here. If they were to touch, they'd have to somehow come back around, and that's not going to happen. At least not on my watch. Yeah, I don't know. I just threw in a little fun thing. Yes. And infinity, remember, it's not an actual place you get to. So like the infinity would not be the best way to say that. Because infinity just implies that it keeps going and it never stops. So like maybe when you get to the infinity they cross, but you're never going to get to the infinity, so they're never going to cross. They're going to keep getting wider and wider and further apart from each other. And maybe you're asking if these just go on into infinity, and maybe not that they touch each other. And the answer to that is yes, they do go on to infinity and beyond. These things also go down to negative infinity, so they'll never stop. You can't stop them. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm teaching with my friend Levi.
What?
What?
Kitty.
Any other questions on this? Those are good questions. The smolf. Or is it this? It's the smolf. Or is it the smelf? It's the smolf. The smolf. Otherwise, I think we're going to be good, and we're going to give it over to Levi. Mr. Levi. Senor Levi. Monsieur Levi. Herr Levi. I don't know if I know any other misters in other languages. Oh, new messages.
Doubt it.
Democritus said there are infinite types of atoms, infinite types of colors, smells, and heat. Yes, he did. Although
Yeah. He actually wrote it. He never said it. He was mute.
he was not.
He was.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You know that for sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said it all the time. He goes, I'm mute.
Okay. I don't know why I'll ever listen to you.
You should never listen to me.
And let's just say this. Democritus was way ahead of his time for calling out that atoms existed. Like, oh my god, we still can't even see them, but we know that they exist now. Imagine being in his time. But there are not infinite amounts of infinite types of atoms. There is a finite amount of atoms because they're made of identical building blocks. And so you can only make so many different kinds. And they are called elements, and they will be mine.
And I will call you Element.
And he tried to explain the universe. Yeah. Oh, man. No, Democritus was a smart dude. He really was.
For living back then, yeah, he was very smart.
Yeah. You know Aristotle? Like, Aristotle just pioneered like subjects, like fields. Like he just opened up different fields, and he basically did all of the research on them. So he started different subjects, and so when he died, he was like the smartest person for like a very long time after that. Yeah,
That's cool.
a lot of his stuff was wrong, not all of it, obviously, but like he thought there were 4 humors, and that's how you cure sickness, is you get rid of the blood.
No, that's actually coming back.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
He also said that there are 4 elements: air, water, fire, and earth.
Right.
Which in Avatar: The Last Airbender is, I believe, true, right? Maybe that's what he was talking about, is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Avatar Aang.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Speaking of Avatar Aang, let's talk about apostrophes.
Have fun.
Hey, what time?
Bozo.
When's your student?
I did it at 9.
9?
Yeah.
Very good.
We don't condone violence. Don't be violent.
Wait, actually, okay, here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'll do apostrophes once you leave. So
Yeah?
you can kind of hang out up here. The Smolf, do you have any questions related to the SAT and ACT, or are you not taking aforementioned tests? No.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Really?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
I don't know.
Okay. Let us know how it goes.
Very good.
Yeah?
Maybe.
Okay. So I'm going to do apostrophes soon-ish. Can you teach me derivative? Not right now, because it's not on the SAT and ACT. So we only do this stuff for those tests and stuff that's on those tests, and that's calculus, so we're not doing that. There are different ways to write it, since nobody else is asking anything, but the dx thing, that type of stuff, but I'm not doing it, sorry. Just haven't written those words in a while, or letters, characters. Okay, I'll get started on apostrophes, I guess. Apostrophes. Okay, these are on the English section of the ACT and the writing section of the SAT. They're generally used, they'll generally ask more about them for the ACT, but you need to know them for both tests. There are a couple, there's one major rule that's for almost everything, and then there are a couple pronoun things that stand on their own. So the major rule is, so there's ownership. There's contractions, and there's ownership. So this is Levi's marker, Brady's hair, things like that. This one is Levi's going to the store. Levi is going to the store. So if we do Levi's going, let's say home because it's faster. All right, this is Levi is. But then here we'd have Levi's, why did I do that? Levi is me, by the way, if that was unclear. You're listening, very good. You are listening. Levi's marker. So this is the difference here, ownership versus contractions. They look identical, you just have to use context to figure out which one it is. So that's not really the issue here. The issue is when you have ownership, most of the time, you have to figure out with plurality stuff. So let's take ownership and pay attention mainly to that. You add, so here there are 2 options, 1 and 2. First option is everything. We'll just say you just add apostrophe S. That's what you're adding to any word to show ownership. You just do apostrophe S. Levi's Levi apostrophe S means my marker. And Brady's hair is Brady apostrophe S hair. That means it's his hair. You add apostrophe S. So that's, I'll do that in orange in a second. I'll do it now. I also don't need to hold this anymore. Yeah, okay. Let's do blue, actually. Also, Smolf, sorry, got to use your full title.
Do you have any other questions? If you want questions about this or clarification stuff or anything on parabolas or anything else that is more test related and not derivative calculus upper stuff related, then we can do those things. Or you can ask about Brady's personal life. He loves to share about it. It's a very personal life. So things for this, it would be, we already have Levi, so I won't use that one. So let's say the man's head, or the man's idea, or whatever it is. Can you teach me times? Like multiplication? So, yeah, just clarify that real quick. Maybe you did. Sorry, yes, okay. So tenses. Yeah, we'll do tenses. We'll do that next. The man's head, let's say the shirt's sleeve children's laughter. So these all you just add apostrophe s. Now that's not the only possibility. There's the other one, and this is sort of the exception. You always add apostrophe s, except when you have plural. So this is, let's not number these. We'll just say always add apostrophe s except when you have a plural ending in s. So here's the important piece. If you have a plural ending in s, you do not add apostrophe s, you just add apostrophe. Add apostrophe. And that's it. You do not add an s. So I'll give you examples of that. Let's say instead of the man's head, let's say the elephants, but there are plural elephants, so the two elephants' trunks. So there are two elephants. The trunks belong to the elephants, so we have to show ownership. We just put the apostrophe there. We don't do elephants' trunks. That's very important. So you're always adding apostrophe s unless you have a plural noun or plural, thing that's doing the owning, and then it also ends in an s. So here, children is plural, but children doesn't have an s at the end, so you just do apostrophe s. If that doesn't make sense, please let me know. We do have an apostrophes worksheet that I could share if you'd like. So elephants' trunks, cats, meow, bees, knees. Actually, hey Brady, can you look up bees knees? Is it a singular bee?
That's a great question. This is a fantastic question. Okay.
It could go either way.
Okay.
I think it's probably singular.
It is singular.
Yeah, that makes it, because you say the bee's knees and it just sort of makes me think singular. So that's no good. Sorry about that. The cat's, well, probably cat's meow.
Singular cat.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Okay, so we'll say the cat's paws. And the dog's snouts. So, if your thing that does the owning is plural and it ends in an s, you're going to have just an apostrophe. In any other case, apostrophe s. So this is the thing that you look for. Plural ending in s, that means you're just going to have the special case. Now, there are exceptions to this overall rule with contractions and ownership. If we have, it's not exactly I will just show you rather than talk myself in circles. It's and its with an apostrophe. We also have, let's put it up here, whose and whose. So, okay, it's not an exception, but it's something that you need to remember. There are two versions of each of these. These are very commonly mistaken. This will 100% be on the test. This 95% will be on the test. They're going to test you on this stuff. And they'll test you probably on this too. So you got to know apostrophes. It's not the most important thing to know for the writing or English sections, but it is very important. So it's with an apostrophe is it is. And this is ownership. Ownership. Okay? Same thing here. This is ownership. Did not learn about spacing from the last problem. And then this is who is. So apostrophes can be used for contractions. That's what these two are. I always making mistake. Yes, it's very easy to make this mistake. I don't have a great way to remember how to do it. Possibly, this is actually the first time I've thought about it. Maybe the apostrophe looks like the dot in the I, so you just turn that into the is dot for the I. I don't know. Or just remember it, or connect it to some, childhood memory that really, I don't know how you do that either. But yes, this is apostrophes. Ownership or contractions. What you need to know about ownership is that you always do apostrophe S unless you have a plural ending in an S. Contractions, it's just apostrophe whatever to put the stuff together. But with apostrophe S for whose and its, those apostrophes are contractions, not ownership. Contraction, ownership, contraction, ownership. Any questions? If no questions, we will go to tenses. It seems like there are no questions, which is fine. We will do tenses now. And I'm going to stick to terminology that I think helps people. Ooh, what do we got? Do we have a question? Possibly, possibly not. Can you describe? Oh, yes. Contractions. Yes, contractions in general. So contractions are when we don't want to say the whole thing, so we just put it together, and we use the apostrophe to show that we've replaced, or we've cut out some letters. So, contractions. Let's put that up here. This is going to be something like we have could not. That becomes couldn't.
Why not 3, my lord?
That has nothing to do with this, Brady.
But 3.
Why not 2, my lord?
Yes, 2 as well. Why not 2?
Why not 3, my lord?
Yes.
Okay, could not becomes couldn't, and we show that we're putting stuff together with the apostrophe there. I hope that helps. Yeah. It is shortening, yeah. It's basically there to show that we have shortened and that we don't have some other new made-up word. It's clearly a contraction. So could not becomes couldn't. We have, give me another one. There's didn't. A lot of not stuff because we don't like adding negation into our sentences and making it take too long, I guess.
Shall not.
Anything without not, though?
Could have. Could have.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Okay. So could have becomes could have. So we put the apostrophe where the letters are that we eliminated. So it's things like that. That's what contractions do. Apostrophes do ownership, they do contractions, and then we have whose and its, which are commonly mistaken words. Oh, perfect. Yes, that's a very good example, and definitely the most common of these. I will becomes I'll. And same thing with they will or they have. So Let's do they have. That becomes they've. You saucy Dave. Okay. Anything else you want me to clarify here? The small, or anybody else? I've never said those sounds before together. Small.
There's a first time for everything.
No, I guess I have. Like in basketball, a small forward.
No,
No?
you never said that.
Okay. I think I have. I've definitely said small forward before.
No.
The small forward. Okay. I'm going to erase this, and then we can go on to whatever any of you want. So please ask your questions. You can post questions in the Discord, which is linked. You create small. Very good. I would have given the chance, but you beat me to it.
Adorable.
Adorable.
Simply adorable.
Do you want to get started on tenses, Bird?
I can start on tenses.
Okay.
Don't know if we'll be able to finish it while I'm here.
Certainly not.
Yeah. We got here. I create small, which is the present tense. I create small.
Yes.
Currently, I created.
Yeah. Why don't we use that? Well, let's not say small, but we could say I create
Okay.
laughter.
The thing is, though, I want the past and the past participle to be different. So created and have created are the same. I want it to be different.
Begin.
Yeah, sure.
I.
Yeah. All right, Slim.
Did you get that from me?
Yeah, of course.
I thought I got that from you.
No.
Oh.
Did you?
I think, yeah, you were sleeping. And I was watching over you that night?
Right. We take turns doing that.
Yeah. Well, we were on the road.
And did I say that?
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting. It's almost like in Back to the Future, where
I've
did
never
the
seen that.
song... Really?
Yep.
All right. Well, brief synopsis so you understand what I'm about to say. Kid goes back in time to the 50s, where his parents are having their school dance, and the guy who's playing the guitar in the band has his hand injured. So Marty goes up there, who plays guitar, and he busts out this song called Johnny Be Good, which he knows is a song from, like, the 50s. And then they're all like, what song is this? This is awesome. And someone heard it. It was like Chuck Berry's brother or whatever. And that's where the song originally came from, is this weird kid who took a guitar out at a school dance and played it. And so someone else played it, and it became a song from the 50s. So the question is, where did these songs originally come from? Because he knew it because he knew it was a song from the 50s, but he's the one that created the song in the 50s when he was back there in the first place. So, like, who actually conceived of the song Johnny Be Good? Think about it.
Interesting.
That's why time travel is really not very possible, because it's gonna... you can't change the past. Maybe you can. I don't know.
This is time.
Let's
You are the
teach
small.
them tenses.
We are nerdish. This is time.
Correct. Sorry. Future. Chrome. A lot of beeps and boops. Digital stuff. Computers everywhere. You know, the future. Hey, what about this?
Yeep.
I wrote future here.
Great. Don't.
Jeez. All right.
You can define the future there. You were just doing that. I thought that's what you were doing.
No.
Okay. Wait, use another color, please.
I thought we like it when we use the same color. 'Cause
No.
It's nice for the kids. All right. You want to conjugate it for I or for he or what? I?
Yes.
All right. Present. We will be using the verb to begin. The infinitive has a to in front of it. To begin. Sorry. I begin. Today, I begin. It is the present. Very well. Very well. Very good. That's it. That's the present tense. It's very simple. All right? The future tense. We throw in the word will, short for William. I will begin. Telling someone this is what will happen in the future. But the past, the word begin changes to a different form. It's past tense form, which is began. I began. Very exciting. I began. All right? Then there's past perfect and present perfect, for that matter, which we should have.
Yeah.
Usually it's like that with an arrow to the present. So how do you want to do that? we want to just...
You want me to draw now? Very nice.
Present perfect.
I think, well, we should have it start. We should have it start in the past, not necessarily in the extra.
Oh, the extra past?
Yeah.
That's true, that's true. Okay. So those are the simple three tenses, past, present, and future, but it gets more complicated than that, because of course it does. Okay. Then there's the perfect tense. Perfect does not mean, way to go, 100%. It means rather that the verb or the action has been completed. Perfect meaning like you did all of it. Great, it's done. Like that, okay? The perfect tense means you have the word have in it, okay? So when you think perfect tense, you should think to yourself, we are adding have in some form or another. I probably should go.
Yes.
Future.
Just give them let's do the words here and then we're good.
Sounds good. Okay. So, past perfect. It's perfect, so we want to have, but it's also happening in the past. So the present tense of have is have. The past tense of have is had. So I would say, oh, jeez, I'm sorry. Oh, don't worry.
Okay.
It'll be fun. I
There's an or in.
had, here's the next part, it's not began. It's a different form of the word called the past participle. It's I had begun. So, if you're ever wondering what's the difference between began and begun, began is simple past tense. If you see begun, it means it's the perfect tense. So you cannot say I begun my test. Can't do that. You also can't say I have began my test. Can't say that either. Okay? I had begun, and then present perfect would be I have begun. All right.
Because that one is continuing to right now. So started it in the past, but it's continuing to here we are.
Technically, you have future perfect as well, which is I will have begun, but you don't really see that often, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, by the time I reach 40, I will have begun saving for retirement. Hopefully,
Yeah.
I'm doing that now, which I am.
Are you?
I hope so.
I've been taking that money.
Spending it?
Well, for nerdish.
I'm spending it on my retirement now.
For the war effort.
For the war!
Okay.
Man, cannons everywhere. We need them. Important weapons for the war.
You're so excited for the war.
I know. I want to plant a victory garden in the backyard. Have some turnips. I don't know what the boys on the front like. Maybe turnips. I should go now. Is their future perfect? Well, we could just address that, but you can talk about it more.
No, I think we just missed. We didn't see that question. But yes, there's future perfect. It was just what Brady said. You know, I might as well write it in.
Question though is there a perfect future?
There is a perfect future. There's also a future perfect. So future perfect starts here, I guess, and then goes to whenever that then present would be. So this is future perfect. And this is what Brady said, which is, I need a green. Very good. This is I will have begun. Okay, so this is not even all the tenses, but this is the most important stuff. There's also subjunctive, there's conditional, there's stuff like that. I'd say don't worry about it, but you do need to know it. It will not, so this is good to think about. I think honestly the most important thing is this one. This is what I see students mess up the most. They don't quite realize that there are two main past tenses, which is past tense and then this other past tense. So an example of this would be I had begun my homework. I'm going to abbreviate that as homework.
Oy.
When the call came in. So this right here is our past perfect. This is our past. The call came in. So, I think of this as extra past. It happened before the normal past thing. So I had already begun my homework. I had done that when this other thing also happened. So you have two levels of past. That comes up every single test. People can miss it. The other things are also important, but every verb is different. So began changes to begun when you go into the participle. Or sorry, not the participle, but the perfect. But then we also have words like, let's say, created. So I created, and then it doesn't even change when you go to the past perfect. So it's just I had created. So it's not going to work on a word-by-word basis. I think understanding this is very important. But the most help that you can give yourself for recognizing tenses is reading. If you read all the time, it will help you enormously. It might not feel like it, but hopefully it does start to get fun. That is my biggest recommendation for this. Okay? Are there any other questions? What will we use for regular verbs? So I actually don't know. There's not really a rule. Generally, we don't change. So began, we chose because it does become begun. Yes, so ed for past is what we normally do. But it's not always the case. So if we have pay in present tense, then this becomes paid for past tense. The general rule is ed, but there are countless, probably not countless, but many exceptions to that rule in all of these different places, and focusing on each one will probably not, my guess is that you're not a native English speaker, so it couldn't hurt to find all the regular ones and then find the exceptions to the rule or rules, but reading will still help you the most, because then you're recognizing things and you're seeing the same thing written over and over, and it's just putting itself in your brain, and it'll come out on the test. Because what's nice about the test, I'm going to erase this now. What's nice about the test is you don't have to come up with the right answer by yourself. They gave it to you. It's there. You just have to make sure you pick that one. So that's why it's so important to prove 3 answers wrong. You don't have to know the right answer right away, but if you can pick out problems with the wrong answers, then you're in pretty good shape. Recognition is key. I think as a native English speaker, the writing and English sections, unsurprisingly, are significantly more significantly less challenging, because the idiomatic turns of phrase, things like the extra past or past perfect, those things are just ingrained because native English speakers have seen and heard those words much more often. Okay, other questions from anybody about the English, about the math, about science on the ACT, about the essays? Does not matter to me, as long as it's SAT or ACT, or I guess about Brady, that's also fine. If not, I'll come up with my own stuff. Perfectly happy to do that. It's not working very well. Can you guys see any of the... I see a lot of dust on this glass, but you probably don't see it, which is good. Can you teach thermodynamics? No. I can't. Not because I don't want to, but not that I would, even if I did want to, because we do need to stick to these tests. But no, I do not know much about thermodynamics at all. I sat in once in college on a jet propulsion class, and it was mid-semester, and I understood nothing. Nothing. So no, Short answer, long answer, all that. Any other questions? We can do, so we've done tenses. What else did we do? We did apostrophes, right? And we did the parabolas. I'm not sure if Brady did this, so I'm going to do this real quick. We have, he was talking about, ooh, what do we got here? Adjective pronoun. Yeah. Let's talk pronouns. Let's ignore that. That never happened. Yeah, let's do pronouns. Pronouns reference nouns, so it's they're professional nouns. It's okay. That's not a thing. They reference nouns. So if we start out with Levi for me, and then later we talk, well, me is actually a pronoun, and so is he. So this is Levi. You will like him. He tutors for stuff. Okay. So for this one, where are all of our pronouns? We got a pronoun here, we got a pronoun here, we got a pronoun here. This you is directed at the reader, so that's sort of a different type of situation. This is directed at Levi, right? You will like him, referring to Levi. He tutors for stuff, also referring to Levi. Now, the difference between these two is object and subject. Object, subject. This is an extremely important difference with pronouns, with nouns in general, the difference between objects and subjects. Subjects, they do the verb. Do the verb. In this case, if we have a sentence that says, if we're going to say I or me, we're not sure yet. Like candy. If you're choosing between this, if you're a native English speaker, me like candy sounds awful. It just hurts every part of our bodies. It's clearly wrong. But if you're not, you have to realize that I is the subject, me is the, yes, exactly. So we definitely want I. Now this is a little bit clearer, but for native English speakers, this is where the breakdown happens. I don't know how much this happens for non-native speakers, but if we have my mom and she or her talked to no, let's change this to okay. So now we're choosing two different things. Clappy hype. Great, very good. My mom and blank talk to Blob and Bob and blank. Not Blob. Okay, in this case, we have to figure out where our subjects are and where our subjects and where our objects are. The verb in this sentence is talked. So who is doing the talking? That is where we have to have subjects. So my mom talked, yeah, and then also this pronoun here, talked. So if we're going to be doing a verb, the pronoun has to be a subject. It has to be she. And I will list the subjects up here. No, I'll do it down here.
So, subjects are I, he, she. It can be a subject or an object. They, we, who. I'm probably missing other ones, but those are the important subjects. Important objects are me, that connects with I, him, that connects with he, her, which connects with she, it is the same, they becomes them, we becomes us, who becomes whom. Yes, exactly. She, him. We have she because it's a subject, him because it's an object. I'm not sure if that is easy for you at all, but it's definitely, it's not the hardest thing even for a native speaker, but while it's easy to get correct, it's easy to make a mistake because you're not paying close attention. Everybody knows that if we get rid, it's very clear, if we get rid of this part and we just have blank talk to blank, and we simplify it, so we just get she or her talked to he or him. This, your gut feeling should tell you exactly what to do. You would never say her talked to he. That sounds very bad. So that should be pretty clear. It would be she talked to him. So on the SAT and ACT, they put in things that will pull your mind away from the simplicity of what's going on. You know the rules, but as soon as they put something weird in front of you, the rules don't go out the window, but they're not as accessible to you because the rules are in the back of your mind. You use them correctly most of the time, and then you get something weird and you don't know how to apply the rules that you were just doing unconsciously before. So it's good to know subjects and objects, and then it's also good to know that you can eliminate things like this other subject and this other object, because if you do that, it makes it much clearer what's going on. Your gut feeling can pick things up. Yes, figured you weren't. It seemed that you weren't studying for these. Good. I'm glad you love learning. I love teaching. I also love learning. Teaching is learning. Learning is love, and love is learning. Yeah? Probably. Okay, I'm going to erase this stuff. If anybody has more questions, ask them. I will answer them. Or I will tell you that I won't answer them. But it'll be one of those two things. What is that song? Oh, it's Pirates of the Caribbean. Also, we have about 15 minutes left, so keep that in mind. If you have a question now, ask it now versus in 14 and a half minutes. Feel free to, also, if you happen to be one of my private students, also feel free to ask questions. Probably won't give you the answers to your own homework, but if you want to talk about the concepts that you need, yeah, let's do that too. Conjunctions. Yes, let's talk about the most important conjunctions. Give me a sec. Yeah, let's do it over here first. These are the fanboys. They're conjunctions. They're coordinating conjunctions. Coordinating. I didn't leave myself enough room. Blast. So these stand for, comma, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Fanboys, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. I think Brady said that earlier in the stream, actually.
These guys separate independent clauses. So we'll first identify what an independent clause, or define an independent clause, and then we can move from there. These are extremely important on the test, and the small I know that you are not studying for the test, but I'm going to keep referencing the test for those people watching who do need the test prep specific thoughts. Whatever. Also, I'm going to check. No, does not look like. Great, okay. Lovely. Now, so we have the fanboys, then we have independent clauses. Independent clauses. Or clause. So this has a subject, which we already discussed, and a verb. It also has to be a complete thought. It has to be both of those things. This marker is slowly dying. So, examples of independent clauses are: I walk. It is fun to laugh. Now there are other things here, other parts of speech in this one. It doesn't really matter. For the purposes of the test, it's the main independent clause of a sentence. You could have, they giggled quietly. You don't have to say quietly. I'm saying quietly, and also misspelling it. So these are examples of independent clauses. And let's also say that we're going to refer to them as IC, just so it's easier for me to write this quickly. So if you have two independent clauses, there are 4 ways to separate them, one of them being a period, of course. One of the other major ways is comma fanboys. I'm going to abbreviate it. No, I won't. So, to separate your independent clauses, you use fanboys. For example, we have, I like chocolate. Brady hates it. So, we want to connect these two ideas. We're not going to use a period here. We're going to use comma fanboys. These are the coordinating conjunctions. So I guess I should underline or squiggle underline. So here, we could say something like, but we have to do the comma. It's not good enough to just say but. It's not good enough to just have the comma. You have to have both, comma fanboys. So, I like chocolate, but Brady hates it. This is an acceptable way to separate independent clauses. There are only 4 acceptable ways. We have periods, which are the easy ones, comma fanboys, semicolons, and colons. Those are the only 4 acceptable ways to separate independent clauses on the SAT and ACT. You could do ellipses, you could do some other stuff, but that's it. Dashes aren't good enough. Quotes aren't good enough. A comma by itself isn't good enough. You can't just do nothing. You have to do something. One of those 4 possible somethings is comma fanboys. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Okay. That's that one. I'm not going to necessarily go through all the ways to separate independent clauses. Anything else? Small, if we can keep doing this. Other people? What do we got here? Oh, yes, nor. So, nor is like or, but it's negative. So, if we say, maybe that's not a good idea. I hate chocolate. Nope, that's not it. That's not what I want. I don't like chocolate. No, I'll do that in the other color. Now this pulls a weird turn of phrase with an inversion, but it is a valid use. So we say nor does Brady. So this is the equivalent of saying I don't like chocolate and Brady doesn't like chocolate. But we're basically taking the negation from here and repeating it here. So that's what we use this nor for. It's like saying or, but it's when there's negation in the first idea and you want to negate the second idea, but you just make it a little bit simpler. So this is when you're using it as comma fanboys, but you can have it in another sentence like it's continuing a list of things, but it's continuing the negation as well. So if we say let's see. I don't want to use the same verb like or do not. No. It's also a thing with neither and nor. So I eat neither meat nor fish. So this is not comma fanboys. This is not two independent clauses. This is a whole different thing, which is why I have it in blue. I eat neither meat nor fish. It means I don't eat meat and I don't eat fish. So that's the neither nor thing. It's like either or, but it's neither nor. The N shows negation. It's like not, which is where couldn't and shouldn't and those things. N in English is often associated with negating things. We could say this in another way, possibly. Anybody have any questions on this? The small, mainly, I guess. But anybody else? They could. I've seen neither and nor on the test. It's certainly hard, but you're not worried about studying for the test specifically. How can we use either? So either is, let's say, I'll accept either. Shouldn't misspell the word that's important here. Either cash or checks. 4:24 a.m. Oh my goodness. It's late. You gotta, or early. I don't know. Probably late for you. So you should hustle off to bed soon. It's 9:27, so we are 7 hours behind. So you are in Europe or West Africa? You feel alone? Yeah, no, hang out for sure. Neither, nor, either, or. So this is positive. There's no negation here. Oh my gosh, I did the wrong accept. Wow. I will accept, so you can give me cash or you can give me checks. You don't actually need to have this. You could say, I'll accept cash or checks. Yeah, I'm a human. Talk to me. You don't have to have this. So, optional. You do need it here because you need to show negation for meat specifically. Okay. So that's comma fanboys, which are coordinating conjunctions, which are the most important things. Then we have independent clauses. This is the most important thing, not just for conjunctions, but just for everything in the English language when doing sentence structure. You have to know the independent clause, because if you don't have a subject and verb,
and you don't have a complete thought, it is not a full sentence. You're not allowed to just say that. And then we have one of the ways to separate them. We have neither nor, either or.
And I think you can say neither. It can be either or neither, either or either, neither or neither. It's just pronunciation stuff. But now I'm looking at this word for too long, and now it's stopping. It's started to not look like a word for me. So I'm going to erase that. Yeah, so the way to not confuse them is to think about that N is a not, and that means negative, so there you go. If that's what you're referencing by saying you confuse them. Or you are personifying them and you're saying they're easily confused as their own entities and consciousnesses. So you confuse them and they're confused by you, if that makes sense. Like either as this conscious being is a confused either.
Yeah, so try not to confuse them because they'll definitely, they have these weird identity issues as a result. Whoa, supernova. What's a supernova? Hey Sid, what's up? How are you? Sid, how are you doing? You're just kind of hanging out now, right? You're into college, you're pleased, you're going to school, you got that settled. Have you dealt with FAFSA? That's... Oh, that's why you said supernova. Oh. Right. Sorry. I didn't realize you were saying that. I'm very sorry. I didn't even realize it looked like a, but I assume that's what it was. Oh, right. Supernovas. You like space stuff. That's right. I haven't thought about that in a while. You still have that essay, by the way, your final draft? Physics major. Oh my gosh, I would not be able to do that. Physics was... Physics of motion, I liked that, but thermodynamics was scary. Electricity is scary. Just doesn't really make sense. Dang, I'm sorry I erased the supernova. You got it somewhere? Good. Okay. I recommend you save it. I would say print it out and just save it, because in 6 years, once you're out of college, you will want to look back at it. You wish Rome colonized everywhere. Okay. Valid wish, for sure. So Sid, where, let's see. Yeah, I would say print it out, save it, or email it to yourself, but you know, probably your current email is not going to be one you use once you get to college. Oh, we got to do this thing. Okay, sorry. Yeah, you got to make a copy. Hey, if you want to send me one, that would be cool if I got a final draft as well, because I do like comparing first and final drafts. You don't have to. You want to learn about prepositions. We do not have time for prepositions, but we do have time for the end of the stream for me to talk about the sponsor, which is not a time to do it because people are just going to leave, but it just also went away. So this is our private tutoring company, so if you want private tutoring, there you go. SAT and ACT help. And then, okay, more people just signed on. It's a bit late, everybody. You're late. Everybody's late. But you can watch tomorrow and the next day. We are streaming 8 to 9:30 again, so don't show up at 9:30 or 9:31 because then we're not going to help you at all. Sorry. So this is Alta Ipsum. They are our sponsor. They do. It's a web app. It's an iPhone app.
or soon to be iPhone app, Android app, that type of thing, and they allow you to track your grades. They allow you to track a schedule, to make a study schedule for things, so you can put in when you have a test, and then it'll set up, okay, this is when you should study, and then you can manipulate that as you want. It's pretty cool. You should check it out. The first month is free, so I would recommend going for it. Okay, so that is the stream for tonight. If you came in late with questions and didn't get them answered, then come back tomorrow. But it'll be 8 to 9:30, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Today's Tuesday. We did this stuff. We did some other stuff. And I will see some, if not all of you, tomorrow. Thank you, Sid. There you go. Where's... Oh, yes. I'll whisper it to you, Sid. Or you can go on the website and find it. Can you? Send it to me in Discord. Didn't we talk over Discord? If we talked over Discord, you can send it there. Yeah, then send it to me via Discord. That's probably the easiest. Yeah. Okay. Have a good night, everybody. Congrats again, Sid, for getting into school, going to college. Well, you haven't gotten there yet. But you'll get there. Lovely. Bye.